All right, we are live right now. So I want to say thank you for everyone that's going to join and all the ones that are going to see this event on replay. And so I'm going to give a little bit of time for people to show up. But if you are there, feel free just to say hi in the chat and let me know where you're from. Uh, I am originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I moved to California, and before that, I lived in California. Now I live in Nevada. So I live in Sin City, Las Vegas, and today we have a guest speaker, and is actually my sales partner, Tami Crea. And one thing I don't like doing, I don't like the sales process, but we connect, and then Tammy's really good with that, and we connected through LinkedIn through my systems. Hey Ryan, nice seeing you, buddy. And so I'm in Las Vegas. Tammy, where are you coming from?
Yeah, I'm in Minnesota, and no, it isn't snowing here. Everybody seems to think we get snow year round, but it's been in the high 80s and sunny. So it's been almost as warm as down where you are, Troy.
Oh my good. Well, no, it's not going to be that warm. Last year has got like 120 degrees for like 4 or 5 days. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if wherever you're from, go ahead and type in there, and we'll go kill some time, about 4 minutes for other people to join. And looks like Ryan's from San Diego. Thank you for joining, Ryan. I do appreciate it. I'm gonna give a little bit about today's show, and it's not so much about sales. It's really about partnerships and not being a lone wolf. I know that one issue I had, and I don't know if this part's an issue, but I'm multi-talented and I'm better at most things than most people, but I'm very limited in my time, and I'm very limited in my network. And I found out a long time ago, well, not too long ago, that your specific network and who you know and how you carry yourself with that interaction and those partnerships make all the difference. And I only have like 40 or 50 hours in a day, and I'm a single parent. And so partnerships are really important, especially the things that I'm not naturally good at, or to be honest with you, I will never be good at. So I tend to be very good at systems. I'm very open and direct. And individuals like Tammy, which is more on the sales side, she is more personable than I am. So I may offend people by accident, and that's just how I am. All right, we got Doug. Doug is in Illinois. I lived in Illinois for a year, suburb of Chicago. I lived right in Chicago for about a year. We got Brian, Las Vegas, and it's not super. Yeah, he's right. It's not super hot yet. It's probably a good 75 degrees. What's the temperature over there, Tammy?
It's really nice today. It's about 70 something today, but it's going to get back down in the 60s and maybe even high 50s. So this weekend, because it's going to rain.
Oh, okay, okay. I think I don't know. I can check the temperature, but it's 75, 85, something like that over here and everything.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and start, and I want to put some rules down here for everyone. We will see the chat come up, and we won't be able to just type back, but we'll be able to reply. And feel free to reply to each other. But if you have questions or comments, feel free to dump it in. We'll just stop and we'll answer those questions, because this is more of an interactive thing. And it's just for us to kind of help each other out. And we're going to talk about our stories of building relationships and partnerships. Because in the past, I could do everything myself. Now I can't. I hit a ceiling real quick. And in order to avoid that, you just hire people that are as good or better than you in certain areas, and then everyone benefits. And a lot of times, the referral partners is all we need for the B2B game. Sometimes we need entire teams and that sort of stuff. The other thing I want to mention is that we have a few door prizes or giveaways. and I'll go through it verbally, and then we'll talk to you, and I'll show a little animation of one of the giveaways. But I created a simple partnership agreement. And Tami, what do you think the biggest problem with partnerships, in your opinion?
Expectations. Absolutely,
Expectations?
expectations, because, you get together with someone and you have different skill sets like you and I do. But if you don't manage those expectations of who is going to do what, then it ends up in, well, you're not pulling your weight, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And so detailing out expectations of who's going to do what and what you're responsible for, that is a really key piece of any partnership.
I had quite a few. I build software, and Scoop is one of the sales softwares that we build. And I received 7 partnership agreements, right, over the first 2 or 3 months, and I was sick of them because they didn't have any actionable items.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is the biggest thing, is that people have to put, I'm going to do A, B, and C. And if I don't do A, B, and C, these are the repercussions. And I think that people are afraid of repercussions, or they want to sign a contract and everything's all hunky dory, but there's no skin in the game. And so I think that people, if you create a partnership agreement where they do have skin in the game, they know that they're actually going to do stuff. Because if it's not, it's a passive agreement. And I don't really believe in passive agreements. I believe in active agreements. So my partnership agreements in there, it's a very simple form. And again, I'll repeat this, but if you want a partnership agreement, type in 1, and then later on, if it's the replay, type in 1 and I'll follow up. The second is, we have speakers on my show. This is the Troy Show. Tami's a speaker and a co-host, and I always bring in speakers that have a different skill set or a similar skill set than I do for business and systems and processes and partnerships and that sort of thing. So I have a speaker agreement, and that speaker agreement is very specific to, like, if you have a podcast or a LinkedIn Live. So if you want a speaker agreement, type in 2, multi-channel marketing guide. We just created a guide that shows, I think, 5 to 8 different channels. And if you're looking to create multiple channels of marketing and outreach that supports your brand and provides value, just type in 3 and I'll go ahead and give you that guide. It breaks down samples of great content, different channels you can use, and it's actually part of our program. We'll just give the guide away free so you can understand what we do for our clients. Number 4 is Scoop, SKOOP. That's our application. It does video sales, instant video sales. So it can work with automation, it can work with AI, or it can work individually. And if you want Scoop, just type in 4. We've seen conversion rates. For me, it converts 6 times better. So I went from a single message to 3% conversion rate to a vetted book meeting to about 21%. And if you're doing a high, and that's not the whole system, that's one step. And if you're doing high value transactions, it's a huge deal to create relationships a lot faster. All right, enough of that, but we'll bring that up again, and we'll show those guides and stuff. But I want to get into the nitty gritty, and I want to thank Tami. And I do have a PDF. Let me load this up. While I'm loading that up, Tami, I think most people know who I am. So I want you to take the stage because I talk a lot. So I want you to chime in and take over and let us know a little bit about who you are, how you're doing it, and how it relates to partnerships.
Sure. Basically, I've been in marketing and sales for over 40 years. And the interesting thing there is that along the way, I've always had different types of partnerships. I've had partnerships with hiring people. I've had partnerships with, forming a business with other people. But I agree 100% with Troy. Being a lone wolf is absolutely just not the thing that's going to make you grow, because there aren't enough hours in the day. He may get 40 hours out of the day. I only get 24. So to be completely honest with you, I need somebody else to expand out those hours. And there's always something more that can be done, and you need to prioritize in that. But my background, like I said, it was always in marketing and sales. I started way back in print publishing, and then moved on to being high ticket online closer and into running multiple businesses. And the thing that I found over and over and over again is that sales is all about conversation. It's not about selling anybody anything. Because when you're in a conversation with someone, all they want is information. They don't want somebody saying you absolutely have to have this or your business is never going to work. Because guess what? There's a bunch of other stuff out there that'll make your business work. It may be the right thing, it may not be the right thing. The conversation is all about, is this the right thing for you? Are you the right person to work with us? And if you don't have that as a conversation, you're going to end up with the wrong clients. And if you end up with the wrong clients, you can't help them. And then they get frustrated. And then the whole thing is just not any fun at all.
Yeah, so, you can definitely have the wrong clients, and I actually changed my business model because of that. And so the work that we do is extremely detailed, and we found that a lot of people can't even prove the content. They don't even know what they're looking at. Right. And so what we do is, if someone's making between $250,000 and $7 million, they've been in business long enough to understand that there is a process. There's not a single magic bullet that's going to convert it. So I was taking on $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000 a month clients. I X that out unless you've gone through my Plus program, my 90-day Plus program. And that Plus program allows me to do the work. And so what was happening before with the smaller clients, I had to put about $5,000 worth of time into developing it and getting 1,000 or 2,000, but I was running a negative, and they didn't see the value. And if the client doesn't see the value, it's probably not going to convert well. And so now we said, look, we have a set fee, and we develop X amount of channels. We'll develop the targeting, the channels, the artwork for your post, your help set up your online events, and set up multiple channels for you. And we'll give the licenses out for a year to give them some runway. And that way we hand that over and train them and allow them to take that over, which people really want. They want to have that option to do that. And most people fail on these marketing programs anyway, because they don't give it enough time. So the lesser dollar amount of people, they expect I want $1 million in 7 days, and it takes it takes a few weeks to get it, to get it set up and start it, and then you're the salesperson, right? I'm honestly a terrible salesperson because I'm very direct. I'm like, if I was like, I don't know, like if I was a drug dealer, I'd be the worst drug dealer ever. I'm like, do you want some drug? No, okay, I'll just move on. And that's my personality, like, because I figure if you don't really need it, you're not gonna ask for it, right? And so there's intricacies that I'm very good at and stuff that I'm not good at. So building out the systems and talking to people and being bluntly honest, for those type of people, I lend well with. But for other people that maybe speak in a different tone and different language, or need their hand to be held a little more, or have those longer conversations, I'm not that person so much. I am that person, but not so much. And so that element is something we all need help with. Looks like Brian wants 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Ryan has wrote us an essay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. While you're at it, Ryan, why don't you drop that booking link in there? I think it's schedulewithtami.com. What we've done is we're using that one booking link for both of us, since Tami is the salesperson and I'm the systems person to build stuff out. So thanks, guys. I appreciate that. And Mindy wants number 4. I'll make sure that we get that to you. Speaking of that, let's just show off a little bit of that. So I'm gonna
demo going here.
Yeah, I'm gonna move over here and figure out how these buttons work. And I didn't even announce myself, but I think most people know me. But I'll give a quick 1 minute. I'm Troy Hippolito. I'm a lot older than I look, okay, because people think I'm in my 30s. I'm actually over 50. I have done 1,000 different projects from Fortune 500 companies down to the mom and pops and the startups. And we needed a way to deliver projects for my IT company, and LinkedIn was the first and main channel. And so we learned how to slow date with businesses and develop systems for that. And that process works really well because we try to provide value to those individuals. We build multi-channel sales systems. We built Scoop, that application that we're giving out, and it works well for B2Bs, high ticket offers, and that sort of thing. And so that's a little bit about me. I'll move to the next screen. I think the next screen showcases all the free stuff here. And don't know if you guys can see that. Let's just do a quick vote. Do you guys want me to share my screen, or can you see this to get the idea? Matter of fact, let me increase it a little bit larger there.
I think that's better.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Okay, we'll do that so we don't have to bounce off the browser and all that. But and so before the end of the day, I'll show that tutorial demo probably in the middle. But this document here is giving examples of great content, different channels, and this is that multi-channel system. We call it the Plus program. This right here is Scoop on the lower left. I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. And Scoop is an application that allows you to do instant video, allows you to, has AI for content creation, has a built-in CRM in it. And we just got our second reseller for that. And we just did some updates to the website for clarity. And this is the active agreement. We have a 2-minute tutorial demo and some partnership stuff. All good stuff there. Let me see what else I have on the screen and get it done with. And that's the demo, and we'll look at that later. And that's another link to reach out. So I'll go ahead and reduce that. And don't even know how do I remove that? There you go. It's gone now. So we'll continue. So the first thing I want to do is talk about partnerships, because this is what the whole thing is about. And you and I met through my system.
Yep.
Not directly, though.
Right.
And we want to talk about it. Sales is not a direct path. You don't send an email and say, yeah, I'll give you 20 grand, 100 grand, $1.5 million, because I've done projects up to 1.5 million. My whole program is, it's in the thousands. It's not in the millions. It's work for time for right now. But it rarely happens with a direct shot. And from our system, we had a mutual friend, and he said, you would be great to talk to Tami.
And see, that's what it really is all about, is if you need to be part of a tribe, and that can be a big tribe, a small tribe. But the thing is, when you have other people out there having conversations with other people, and they're saying things like, hey, you know what? I'm not the right person for you, but I know somebody that is. And you guys should just have a conversation. Again, it's not about the idea of running around going, marry me now. Yeah. It's about, can we work together on a project? Can we work together on a longer term scale? What makes sense? Sometimes it just makes sense to do like an affiliate agreement or a referral, that kind of idea. But sometimes it really makes sense to dig in together and go, you handle this part, I'll handle that part. And that actually gives much better service to the people that you're working with.
Yeah, because you're concentrating on what you're good at and what you can deliver.
And from an ownership
and then you can charge accordingly.
Yeah, it's an ownership perspective. And I don't own Troy's product. By the same token, what I own are the conversations that we have. And what that means is that I'm representing the product, and I really, really care about it. I mean, it's not just something that I'm throwing out in an email as an affiliate. It's something that I want to see grow. So you have more skin in the game with a partnership than you do with like an affiliate agreement.
Yes, and so in your opinion, how do you separate a passive partnership versus a active. I call it active partnership. I only like. I tend to only like active partnerships because everything else. I have very low tolerance for BS.
Yeah.
That's just me. I'm so direct because I'm like, I get things done. Let's get it done. And even when they join the my plus program for helping, it's not. That's not even a partnership. It's more of. I hate to say it for it's a lot of stuff done in a condensed amount of time, and it's more of a consulting and not
Yes.
dictatorship, but almost
But
because they're
that's a
hiring you
client
for a
agreement.
reason.
That's a client agreement. That's not a partnership. Someone buys
Yes.
something from you. That's a client relationship. So that people want you to be direct in that kind of situation because they want to know what's getting done. Partnerships are where you have give and take between the people. Now, Troy and I actually do have give and take. Every now and then I just have to talk over him. However, it works out really, really well because we each have our own areas of expertise. And that it doesn't work very well to partner up with someone who doesn't have another skill set. What is best is when you have a partnership with people that are in two completely different areas. You can have overlap, that's not even a problem. But what you need to do is to understand that this is someone that you're bringing into your life that's going to support you, not get in your way. And so partnerships are really important to have differing skill sets, but that you can be complementary. Now, I love Troy's style. I love the fact that he's so direct. To me, that's very refreshing. I wouldn't want to work with someone who isn't direct. But and he wants me because I will go more into explanation with people. I will take the time to break it down a little bit more. Because when you say to someone, hey, you want this drug here, if they don't even know what it is, it's really, really hard for them to make a decision. And I have more than
enough. There could be a lot of information that may be stored in my mind because the way I operate very quickly.
You do.
And that's really the nature of getting stuff done. But that's not the nature of having conversations.
Exactly. And that's what I do and love is just having conversations, figuring out who people are. Because any sales call, if you're working with someone that is a partner, is an evaluation of, is this going to be somebody that's going to bring good things to what we're trying to do? Or is it going to be somebody that we're going to have a problem working with? I think I mentioned that earlier, and you can't always tell that, but by the same token, it's a two-way street, not one. It's not me sitting here going, you have to buy this thing. It's, is this really the right choice for you? Because if it's not, I'm going to tell you it's not the right choice. Because if I bring someone in that it's not the right choice for, Troy's going to hate me forever. Because he's going to go, I have to work with this person that you brought me in. This is not a good fit.
Yeah, that's true because there's certain clients that are not designed to be successful in this type of environment. Exactly. I'm not saying they're not going to be successful. I'm not saying they're bad people, but you have to have a certain comprehension of, oh, this is a campaign. I need to agree on it. Oh, I need to actually take the meetings.
Yes,
that's another thing. The client that pays $1,000 or under, there's a 50-50 chance they'll make their own meetings. It's a bad rep for me. So it's like, or they won't know how to build a relationship. So you'll have those clients that pay $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and they just want to sell it, and they don't have that whole process of trust or anything like that. They say, well, how do you do it, Troy? I said, well, I'm the owner. Yeah, I put out content every single. People know me, or they can look me up, and they can go to my profile and say, "Oh, they got 50 people saying good stuff about." So I can be looked up, and there's constant value. And so, besides the systems and stuff, a lot of the people I noticed that they don't have a way to provide value to that other individual. Like for example, our systems. We try to develop a 3-tier value structure. And so the people can go along on your journey. So when you're making a partnership or a client, they're kind of the same thing. They are. If you really think about it. And so half of my campaigns are specific to direct clients and half of them are for direct partnerships. And so a 3-tier value structure is where you could set up 3 different levels of things that either are free or cost. that are perceived as valuable to the other person. For example, the first one is this event costs nothing. People can ask questions, they can engage, they can get the answers they want, they can get the documents they want, and they can get experience and get to know us, right? Or content. So I produce between 3 and 5 pieces of posts a week. Some only get 1,000 views. I had a post last week; they got 70,000 views. Did pretty well. I talk about solving problems. My Fridays are a little more personal, about how I'm doing this week, what we're doing, what's happening. Have a great weekend, motivation, and that sort of thing. So that's like tier 1. Tier 2 is something very low cost. For me, it's Scoop. Scoop you can get pretty cheap. I think it's $47 a month. And if I give them this discount, I think it ends up being free. And then if they keep it after like the 7 days or whatever, it's $20 a month. Super cheap. But the thing is, they say, well, some people say your software should be $200-$300. I don't know. That's debatable, right? If you have a tool that converts and sells, it should have a value. But the point is, it's such a low cost, it brings them inside your ecosystem, and the third value is your high cost or your high ticket item. And so you want to bring people along with you in your journey. So they see your content, they engage with you, and building those relationships. And that has to do with partnerships as well. They need to say, oh, I like this person enough to work with. Now, whether they're skilled enough, that's a checkbox. I think 80% of the decision is if they trust you or like you enough.
Well, and in partnerships, that's the idea behind what Troy's new whole program is too, is the idea of partnering up with businesses to create that system in their business that's going to get them a consistent flow of leads and new clients coming in, and then allowing people to take it themselves instead of saying, well, I'm going to run this system for you forever, so you have to pay me forever. It becomes a partner with the business for them to learn it, to figure out that this is what makes sense. So this is, again, when you're building out a system for your business, you have to decide, are you trying to keep people for really long term, or are you doing kind of a build and release? People like build and release because of the simple fact that then they're more in control of their business. So the partnership becomes...
Well, it's a reduction in cost too, and it's an increase in control. People want the sense of control, and they want to reduce costs. So if you're paying for $2,500 or $3,000 a month, and you got to do it for 6 months, it's close to 20. It's close to 20K.
Right.
And then sometimes it gets a little. You got to fight for that sometimes too, because maybe there's conversion problems on their side.
Well, and this is why people, when they're sitting down, and that's kind of what this show here is all about, is when you're building out your systems, these are the things that you need to pay attention to. Sometimes bringing in a partner to help you will help you go further faster. Sometimes it is just all about what systems are you going to put in place. Because if you don't have that vision before you get started, then it's going to be confusing to the client. Yeah. So that's why the partnership agreement, that's why the templates that have been prepared for this call, it's all about how do you build your own system? What systems do you guys, put them in the chat? What systems do you guys have already?
Great question.
And so that's what we're really here to answer questions on. If anybody has any right now, is, what's the best way to structure a system to do the best for your clients and make.
So let's pause on that thought. So everyone on the event today, type in what systems are you using to run your business. This is for outreach. This is for communication. This is for sales. And then I'll read a couple of the things. Oh, Mindy changed her mind. She also wants number 1 and 3. And Ryan is voting to share my screen. And Dasa, Dasa is from Las Vegas. Nice to have you, Dasa. Thank you. So I can tell you a few that I use. I don't like cold email, but I do. I do email blast. So I think there's three forms of email. Although the email blast is warm. Warm email generally is done on a campaign type process, and a cold email is also campaign. Email blast is your collected email list of people opt in, and so email blast for me is really easy, quick, and dirty. I do LinkedIn connections and I do LinkedIn conversations on the DM. So that's another one. This online event has several channels for me. That's three. And then the fourth is content creation. So it's my post. So there's a lot of business to do on these online events because think about this. We had, I don't know, 330 or 350 people register for this event, right? That's
Yep.
a good portion of them. We can get their emails because they've already opted in. Another thing is that people are commenting now and later. And when they comment, we can interact on that later. A third thing for these events is you can send them an email or a DM, or it'll increase your connection rate. They may want to connect with you afterwards. And so each channel can branch out into multiple channels. Speaking of that, you know what, Ryan? What I'm going to do is I will share my screen and I'll show our 90-day plus program because it shows a couple of those channels. So I'll do that.
And through it all, you need to give value.
Yes.
Whenever you're out there, when you're in the DMs, when you're doing posts, anything you're doing along the way, what you really, really, really need to think about is what is going to give somebody the best experience. What can you help with? What can you give them that they go, wow, that solved my problem for right now.
And if it doesn't solve their problem, if it lowers their pain, they're
exactly.
on their way to solving that problem. So
So
this
you
is a
have to
guide
value.
I'll definitely give away, and I'll just go through it. And unless there's a little video here, a little bit about the agency, what happens in that plus program. First 30 days, we build out systems, strategies. We gain initial traction. The second 30 days, we train your team, create the SOPs. That means service operating procedures or documents, so it's reusable tasks. The last 30 days, consultation, adjustments, and tweaking. And the plus part is the licensing for the main system for the whole year. That's a big
That's
deal.
value. That's value.
Well, think about this. Most people quit after a month or two. What if your big deals came in month 4?
Well, exactly, which they usually
You
do.
need and you quit.
Yeah.
And these systems are happening. A lot of them, not all of them. Of course, you have to answer your own meetings, but a lot of these systems happen when you're sleeping. And why would you want to cut it off? So those is what happens in there. But we were talking about channels. We already talked about the 3 value structure and free, low cost, and then high ticket. And so that's the gist of that. So free again or post, how to solve an issue, initial consultations, lowering pain, that sort of thing. Things that are free. This event is another example. Low cost. For me, it's my software. For you, it could be, you're a private group or something that they gave you $1. Think about that. If they gave you $1, then they're more invested than not giving you $1. And so you're bringing them in your ecosystem. And then third is your high ticket offer. And sometimes people go straight for the high ticket offer, but it's usually like a 70-30 type deal. And here are a couple of different workflows, connection campaigns, LinkedIn message campaigns. They have InMail as well. InMail is another type of message you can send out. Cold email, LinkedIn to email. That's saying if I connect it with someone, they'll never look at the DM, but maybe they'll check the email. And you can roll that off to one to another, or have a sequence of information going to them in messages and then branching it off to an email. It really depends on your style. Cold email is not. Tell us a little bit of what you think about this. Cold email, I think, is not doing as well as it used to.
It isn't. It when they divided up in Gmail, divided up your inbox into promotions and social, that was really the beginning of the problem with cold email. If you can't land in the inbox, if you're in either social or promotions, your rates just drop like a rock. So
Yeah,
you're
my guess is about 4 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, that actual deliverability rates dropped because their system's saying it's delivered,
yep,
but it's not.
right. That's another one. So yeah,
Yeah, so cold
but
email.
cold email still works. It's still valuable. I just wouldn't use it as a main channel. It's a good backup channel.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to use it as your only channel. Email blast or is what I use. I use SendFox. It's a very simple program, and you can have 10,000 people you hit out at one time. Typical open rates for me is about 50-60%. Click-through rates about 1 to 3, which is pretty average on that.
Yep,
Um,
it is.
so you have deliverability rates, and then you actually have no, you have open rates when they actually open the email, and I can tell what that is. It's usually 50-60%, but the click-through rates is pretty low. If there's a call to action on that. Online events, that's what we're having here. I kind of talked extensively about that already, but there's multiple channel, multiple opportunities. And think about this: if you were a potential client and I brought you on an interview, that is another good form of converting those deals. How many high value deals do you really need to get done a month? I mean, me and my business, all I need is one deal a month. And if I have a potential client, that's I'm giving them a lot of value. I'm bringing them on the show. I'm showing them about the services. I cut up 10 pieces of content for them. I'm giving them social media. I'm giving them a lot of value, and that value is like thousands and thousands of free marketing dollars for them. They'll be more in line. They'll be more inclined to be a partner or a client. Another thing too is LinkedIn post is huge. So I think, in my opinion, just from my little point of view, these two are very huge. LinkedIn posts. I get half of my business, maybe a third to half of my business right to that. LinkedIn InMail, I mentioned that. Well, post is another thing where you can create something, you can see who liked it, you can see who commented, you can have that conversation on the post, and you can have it off the post on the DM or email, or you can even get bookings straight from your content. People don't realize that. InMail is a kind of a one-shot deal that LinkedIn allows you to go beyond your network, which is very valuable. The conversion rate's low, but you can get some volume. Matter of fact, I would say 40% of the registrations came through InMail, for this event. Data capture, others, personal profile. I think half of the people that connect with you look at your profile first.
They do.
And it has to be in line with your ICP, your ideal client prospect. And so if you can align your profile by solving who you're helping and who you're not helping, you will attract the right people, because LinkedIn tends to pair you up people like you, not necessarily people like your clients. You know what I mean?
That's true. That
So
is
you
very
have to arrange it properly. Yeah, so we redo profiles as part of a program. If not, we'll just charge $2,000 to do it. But usually in the larger program, we tie that in there. And then so we like to add scale, which are multiple channels, with hyper personalization. And I mentioned Scoop already. Scoop is hyper personalization, where I want to do this one step. If I want to talk to them, I want to create a welcome message with 3 lines of text, a thank you for connecting, something about them, and then tile them. So again, I increased my 3% to 21% doing this. So I go to my connections and I want to personalize that, at least that one message. And then of course, training, SOPs, and all that stuff. This is an example of multi-channel systems. You can start on creating a post, video, information, IG, Facebook, YouTube. I mainly do it on LinkedIn. Then you can have connections your newer relationships, existing network, beyond network, from your DMs to your email and all that sort of thing, and then consulting and all that. So you can have, this is showing you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is showing like 10 channels from one LinkedIn account. Just giving you an example. No one does 10 channels, but it gives you an idea. And here are some visuals on what it takes to create a good profile and why SEO is really important for your profile. Content for post, some visuals. You can click on that, and it gives you the links to the actual post, gives some good examples. LinkedIn message campaigns. It goes to these other campaigns, and email and volume is another thing too. You don't use your own email to send out your business stuff. If you're using systems, you create what we call a mirror email. You clean it out. You have up to 10 emails. That means you can send out to 300 emails per day, every single day, without damaging your regular email. And of course, virtual events and a bunch of resources and stuff like that. So I'll get back to the thing. How do I shut this down here? Remove. Boom. We're back. So that's the guide. I think it's pretty valuable because you have hard links to a lot of samples of information, how to develop systems yourself if you really want to.
And it really is important to have systems, because otherwise what I've seen people do over and over again is, oh, I'm going to post. So they'll post for a week, and then, oh, well, posting doesn't work, which isn't true at all. It's just that they only did it for a week. And so there's no consistency. So if you build systems around what you're doing, and this again goes back to partnerships, because sometimes you can get a partner that will help with making certain that you keep doing your systems, because it's split between two people.
You think I create all my content myself? I got a team.
Of course.
They're really good.
This is my point.
The only reason I hired them is because they're better than me.
Right.
And so I have a development team of 35 people. They're really great. So any projects come in, I can just oversee what needs to happen. They have project managers, they have designers and developers, and then we have the designers for the video stuff, people that help. I mean, my job is to approve.
But a lot of people don't have that. So my point here is, first of all, if you're starting even just on your own, is the consistency. And there's tons of ways of doing that, but never just start something and give up right away. Because most people, by the way, Troy, don't have a 35-person team behind them, but you can get one VA, or you can get one partner that has a team that they can help out with. There's so many different ways of doing it. You don't need to do it all alone. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to try and be lone wolf these days, at least get into having systems built out and put in place in your business, so that the AI and the systems become your team.
Yeah. So let's talk about the VA route. I have a number of VAs as well. I could not function without them.
I know.
I used to be able to, but this is what I was doing. Now this is where I'm at, and I can't do all that going out. It's just too much. And training your team, whether they're whoever they are, it's kind of project management. One important thing is SOPs, service operating procedures. Those are the repeatable tasks that you can extend your knowledge to the document and hand that over. That's what we help develop for our clients. And if you can get that knowledge out, you just take that burden off of what needs to happen, and that's important too in a form of partnerships. For example, you may have to have people that will vet the meeting before the meeting, so you're not burning your time. And so there's certain criteria that needs to happen. You need to set that up.
In the idea of criteria and setting things up and whatever, let's get down to this new program of yours, the Plus program. Who is the best person to come into your program, and what are they going to be looking for? And start to finish, what are they going to end up? Where are they going to end up?
Yeah, that's a great question. So generally, what we do is we make sure that it would be a good fit. So they have some income coming in, and they have an understanding of how their sales process is. And do they need, what do they need? I need to figure out where the holes and gaps are. The other thing I figure out is what channels do their clients reside in?
Mhm.
Where do they normally, and then what value can we provide them so they can come on their journey and to eventually get a steady flow of clients. So it tends to work best with people that have a high ticket offer, which tends to be coaching, consulting, or a B2B kind of mechanism.
Mhm.
And those things work well because you're concentrating on relationship based businesses, and you only want one a month or 3 a month or 4 a month or one every 5 months. If it's an IT company, they may only need one project a month or one every 2 months, depending on
Sure.
what it is. I've done projects for, I don't know, 5,000, and then I've done projects for 1.5 million. So it 1.5 million will cover a good team for
Yeah, it will cover
a year and change, to be honest with you.
It's not just for people that are at that level either. I
Yeah.
mean, you're actually, when you talk about this system is, it's not cheap, but it's definitely for what someone is going to end up with. If you have a high ticket offer, it's not going to take much to make your ROI back. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Well, it's actually about a third of the cost if you break down, third or a fourth of the cost if you hired out someone, because I've done it so many times.
Right.
So I have a very tight system saying, okay, this is how we're going to arrange it, and then how are you going to provide value to those individuals, and then the only holes that come up really is that when you have this meeting, are you going to follow up? Do you have a sales process to make sure that even if you don't get this deal right away, you keep up with them, because you have a conversion rate even after if you lose out a bit. And so that sales process, I think, is important too, because a lot of people can't convert because of personality reasons, or it may be too much. They may be too hyper focused on their product versus solving problems or the rapport that requires them to really trust you.
Coming back to partnerships again, systems people and developers tend to not make the best salespeople. So if you're really systems development, it's a great idea to hire a sales team to come in and help you out. So again, coming back to it, if you have a high ticket
I'm
offer,
a prime example of that.
Yes, you are. If you have a high ticket offer and you want to grow your business and you want to put all of these systems and processes in place, that's exactly what the Plus program is going to help you do. So you're going to, get all of this set up so that you can, scale your business. So that if you're sitting at, a few thousand a month, all of a sudden you're going to be at, 5 figures a month or even 6 figures a month. It's the difference between struggling and growing the business that you came into this to do. It's the difference between going, I'm just going to get by, and if I lose a client, I may have to go look for a job, and actually
Isn't that an awful feeling?
Yeah, it is.
You put all your heart and soul into a business, and you're cranking all these wheels, and then and the depression and the highs and lows. So having systems that steady reduce that. Yeah. They don't totally solve everything. And like, for example, one thing I didn't put on that Plus program is just networking.
Yep.
And networking is huge. It's a huge part. It just, I'm not going to network for you, so I'm not going to put it in the program. Brian Brian is the only one to answer. Thanks, Brian. Brian's on it. Brian does LinkedIn, Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is a staple. Apollo, great data. Personalized email, and 15-step follow-up sequence. Oh my gosh, 15 steps on one channel? Well, maybe it works for him. I don't do 15 steps on a single channel. I may over a course of time, like maybe with the follow-ups and the monthly or quarterly or something like that. But I think on LinkedIn, you never send more than 3 messages ever, unless they reply, and then you move on to a channel number two. But that's just me. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Everybody's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And follow-up sequences can be very, very, very long. I used to have one that was over 60 emails long, and it worked because I eventually got a very high ticket client on my 38th email. And I knew that because she had left the subject line of the email that I'd sent her and just hit reply with "send me an invoice, I'm in." And
Awesome.
it was my 38th email. So I knew
But
that.
over what course of time, just for I understand context?
Actually, I was sending emails every other day.
Wow. Wow. You know what? On our Scoop application, we're going to send a 10 email sequence, one a day, but
Yep.
that's just to show them, do this. Have you done this? This is something. So we keep them engaged, but that's a little bit different animal.
That's coaching, not nurturing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they already bought the product. They're looking for that, which is
Right.
kind of a different thing. And that's another thing too, is the systems have to be balanced in a way where they're expecting to do that,
Well, and you have to know this is the thing about systems. You have to know exactly where you're at. And that's what systems tell you. They tell you what's working and what isn't working. If you only send 3 emails and you never send more than that, then you won't know if a longer sequence will work. But when you start to put systems in place and you start to take each piece of that system and experiment with it, then you have everything in place. You know what's working, what isn't working. And that's the other way of making certain that your business is going to be consistent. So that you hire the help you need, so that you have the consistency every single month to say, okay, I have this much that's going to come in because my system has proved it.
Yeah, and a lot of times when I said 3 messages for LinkedIn, I was referring to specifically LinkedIn. After those 3 messages over, say, a course of 2 weeks, then you move maybe to a different system from maybe email or InMail or a direct phone call, whatever the case may be. You do have these different systems, and certain things are more appropriate than others.
On DMs, you don't want to send more than 3 messages because they just annoy people. Emails are different. If they don't like the emails, they just unsubscribe.
Yeah, definitely.
And you have to have really good
but having multiple systems is very important. You just brought that up as moving from one to another over a period of time. It makes sense because people say, well, email's dead. No, email is actually still the most powerful platform of communication. But if you connect it on LinkedIn, maybe you want to reach out to them on LinkedIn first. Because they accepted a connection or replied to a comment. They're more aware on that platform. So you need to figure out where they're at. Going back on partnerships, I want to talk to you. I'll give you a little anecdotal story on how I got my resellers. So of course I have multiple systems that go out, and I don't really beg for work or anything like that. I just put information out there that's perceived as valuable, and they say, I want this, I need this help. Can you help me with this? And sometimes when they have a meeting with me, I may not be the right person. And my job is to get them to the right person. I have over 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. So I usually know a guy that knows a guy, So if you need a problem solved, I'll be glad to say, I'm not the person for this. This person is, let me run the introduction. And to be honest with you, that's just not me being good natured. It's good business, because the people I recommend, they owe me a favor or a kickback or something, usually there's a benefit on, and a good portion of your money could be referrals as well. And so
Troy, we're almost at the top of the hour.
Oh my goodness.
And I really do want to bring out here to anybody that's here or is watching this or whatever. And that is all of this stuff that we're talking about with systems. That's what's in the Plus system. That's exactly what that document that Troy showed you is all about. and exactly what I would be happy to go over with anyone who just wants to have a conversation. So you hit schedule with Tami, Tami.com, and book a time with me. And I will actually go through every single step of what the system is, how it will benefit your business. And the thing about it is that it's guaranteed to grow your business, because you will come out of it with all of your systems in place. You'll come out of it with a system that you own. So you're not constantly buying new stuff to try and tag into it, because you spend more money that way than you do with just simply investing in one system that's going to grow your business. So if you really are in a growth mode, if you really have, you know who your ICP is, and you have a high ticket program or product that is going to really make a difference to people, then that's exactly where this system is just going to catapult you out and really make the business grow. And so book a time, have a meeting. We're going to have a conversation. If this is right for you, it'll be right for you. If it's not, it won't be. It's a little bit like, Troy, do you want this or not? But you'll know what it is before you have to make that decision, and you won't be pressured to make a decision on the call. So all we're looking for is to get your feedback on the system also, and to find out if this is the right system for you, so that we can help you grow your business. That's what Troy and I are trying to do together in our partnership.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. All my relationships, all my partnerships have gone through these systems. That they all have. My reseller, the reason I have the existence of the software that's going to make X amount, and it's making X amount, and just make a lot more money, is because, and it wasn't instant. People think it's instant. I reached out to one individual that was a little reseller, and he said, "This is great. I'll buy it. I'm not going to resell it, but my buddy, he's a bigger reseller. You should talk to him." And so the system reached out to that individual, and he knew it. He loved it. You know, it doesn't have to be software. It could be your relationship. It could be your business, whatever it is. And it took me a month and a half to talk to the second person. So it took me it took me 3 months to get the first person, a month and a half, and then it took another 3 months to get to the bigger reseller. He said, "Oh, this is great. You know, you should talk to so-and-so. He knows 100 people like me." And now I'm talking to well, his name's not so-and-so, it's Ed. And that whole process was about a 7-month process. And so people need to understand that systems have to work and it's not in a direct line. It's all relationship based. Systems will help you get there, but you need to.
And you get stuff down the pipe that's going to compound. Those quick wins that compound into long-term relationships. And that's exactly, again, coming back to the Plus program. That's what Troy has built out here. It's phenomenal. It really is. But, I would love to talk to any of you and just explain it at a real in-depth. You will know exactly what it is, exactly what you're getting, and exactly why. I guarantee you it will work for your business.
Oh, awesome. So we're at the top of the hour. What I typically will do is thank the guest speaker and my partner in this case, Tami, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And the link, the schedule with Tami she'll also invite me on there. So I'll be the nerdy guy that says, "Oh yeah, that works. This doesn't work." Yeah. That's a good idea. I'm so blunt, and so if you have a system already, just ask us. Like, we're doing this and we're having this problem, because my whole job is solving problems. That's just what I'm here for. The other thing is, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I'll stay on the chat for another minute, and after that, I will drop off and let you guys go on your merry day. Oh, Jake is the one that introduced us.
Yep, it was Jake.
My system connected to, like Jake in the chat. My system connected to Jake, and Jake connected me to you.
Yep.
Yeah. Jake title 100%.
Yeah, he's cool.
Ryan's giving his props for that. It's all relationship based. Yeah. So relationships is a cornerstone of everything, but you need a way to access that relationship, and that's what these systems are.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. So I don't see any other questions. I know there's a 10-second delay, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and drop off. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Had a couple of great questions. I appreciate it. I'll follow up. And if you do have questions, feel free to go ahead and ask on the chat. And later on today, I'll go back and start answering that, or Tami will. All right. Thank you
Absolutely.
very much. Have an awesome day and a great week. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy.